So, for our last and final speech, the persuasive speech, I am doing mine on the death penalty and why I think it should be banned, not just in America, but in every country all over the world. First, I would like to start with why I think we should ban the death penalty. I believe that we should ban it because I think it's just letting criminals off the hook way too easy. I feel like instead of just doing an eye for an eye type of deal, it's easier just for the person to rot in jail. I think that they should have the time to sit in jail and just be like, wow, did I really murder someone? Like, was this worth it? Instead of just getting the death penalty and that's it. They don't have to deal with it anymore. But if they're in jail, they totally have to think about it for like a really long time. For the rest of their life, that's what they have to deal with. Was it worth it? That's what they get to think of. But if it's the death penalty, they get off easy and they don't have to deal with it anymore. It's just an easy way to get out of it. I think that although some people say we're wasting our money like paying for the jails to stay open. Like if we got rid of the death penalty, it would be like we would have to build more jails and it would be more of our money to have people sitting and rotting in jail. But the way I look at it, yeah, it would be more money from us, but that would be more jobs for other people. We're in a really bad economy right now, so I feel like the more jails we have, the more corrections officers you would have and security guards and all that good stuff. So I feel like either way, it works out for both parties. I feel like even though Americans do this, other countries do it like a lot more, and they do it for reasons that are just so unjust. They kill people without even having a trial, even if they're innocent. So many innocent people have died from the death penalty, which is just so unfair. I think that as Americans, we shouldn't be injecting or electrocuting people to their death, even if they were proved guilty for doing something like murder or anything like that. I think it's way better for the person to just sit in jail for the rest of their lives. I think that this current Jodi Arias case is actually really unique because if for at least my generation, like O.J. Simpson got off guilty and Casey Anthony got off guilty, but now with Jodi Arias, she is found guilty but she wants the death penalty, which any person would. If you know that you're going to be in jail for the rest of your life, you'd rather have the death penalty, and it's just way too easy. Yes, she says and she claims that she did it out of self-defense, but obviously it's not believable because the jury convicted her guilty, and now she should be able to sit in jail for the rest of her life. It's justice for her boyfriend Travis, who she murdered, and his family, instead of her just getting off easy. Although they say like the average waiting time on death row is like 20 years or so, but still, it's not enough. It's better for the people to just sit in jail forever if they have to. I mean, eventually they're going to die, and that's the way it should be. They should spend the rest of their lives in jail. I don't see any other way around it. I think the death penalty is extremely cruel, and it's just not fair. It's like when you have to put a pet to sleep. It's just not fair. It's a horrible thing to go through, and it's just not worth it. Like, it's way, way, way better to have someone in jail than just getting rid of the problem altogether. I think that watching the Jodi Arias case from start to finish was probably really helpful, the most helpful thing about doing this speech, because I got to see from the very beginning of how she first claimed that it wasn't even her, that she had no idea how it happened, that she wasn't even there, and then she claimed that she was there, and then it had some type of connection with the mob, that the mob came in and killed him, and then finally she was like, yeah, I killed him, and then it was, yeah, I killed him out of self-defense. So obviously it wasn't believable. She had it planned, and this trial lasted for so long, and now finally they convicted her of being guilty, which she absolutely was. I mean, there was no question about it. She admitted to killing him, but now it's a matter of spend the rest of her life in jail or take the easy way out and get the death penalty. Yes, she would be going back to jail and be on death row until it happens, but it's just not fair. she should sit in jail and have to deal with killing somebody. I think anyone that even has the guts to kill someone, they're strong enough to sit in jail for the rest of their lives. I think that jails in general are just horrible, but obviously we need them to keep like horrible people off the streets. But that's why they have different jails for different like degrees of criminals and everything. Like, you have some people that do robberies and some people that do murders. Then you have, like, the insane people. But, like, Jodi Arias, she just needs to sit in jail for the rest of her life instead of getting off easy. It's the easy way out, and it's just not fair. I'd rather have my tax dollars go to people that are actually doing their jobs in jails instead of just injecting people or electrocuting to death and getting it over with. I think that after probably when I was very young, I watched The Green Mile, and he got killed, and he was innocent from the death penalty. I mean, that happens so many times just in 1 year, and that's so unfair. I mean, at least if he was sitting in jail for the rest of his life, it could have been appealed after a while, and maybe they could have found him innocent. But now, if you just get the death penalty, that's it. You can't take someone back once they're already gone. Once they're gone, that's it. You can't get them back if you find them innocent after that. So, like, then what? Then that person should have to sit in jail for the rest of their life for messing up a whole man's life and his family's life. So I feel like if there's no death penalty, then you don't have to worry about if at that time you're making the right decision about someone being innocent or guilty. Like, I believe that O.J. Simpson and Casey Anthony should both be sitting in jail right now for the murders they committed, but obviously that didn't happen, and now they get to live their lives freely, and it's just like almost the death penalty. Once they get killed, that's it. They don't have to deal with it anymore. So it's much, much easier for people just to sit in jail and have to think about everything that goes on. In the past couple of years, the number of death penalty rates, they're just going up and up and up. So there's no point in this. There is no point. People just need to deal with what they did instead of getting the easy way off. And then if they mess it up, then what? Then what do you get to do? It's completely unfair for everybody. And even I feel like as Americans, this is not what we do. This is not how we work here. Maybe in other countries, which are so unjust, they kill innocent people all the time, and that's just not how America works here. People want to come to America to be free and live the lives that we live, but we're not doing it the right way with the death penalty. There are so many more states that have the death penalty banned than that do. So I feel like we're almost there, and I feel like one day probably the death penalty will be banned in all states. I mean, it's just sickening that this is even like happening, that there is death penalty. I think the president should just ban it from every state. He has that power, and I think he should do it. Just like he should just start letting every state accept gay marriage, because it's like the same thing. It's the same exact thing. It's a stately thing, whether they're for it or against it, and I think that the death penalty should be banned from every single state, because it's more justice for the victim of any crime that gets committed from the death penalty. I feel like the murderer or whoever is getting the penalty just needs to sit in jail for the rest of their lives, and that's it. And then it's justice for that person's family and for that person. That's why I think the death penalty should be banned forever and ever and never come back. And I think whoever even came up with this, it was a horrible idea. So to bring this speech all together, I think everyone can understand that the main point is that the death penalty needs to be banned because it is horrible, and people that commit crimes, if they have the guts to do it, they're strong enough to sit in jail for the rest of their lives. So please, if you ever are out there to vote for anything, make sure you vote to ban the death penalty, because it's just not right, as it's just not just. So thank you.